Let's do that hockey. The riveting RotoWire duo of Paul Bruno and AJ Schulz are here for some NHL opening face-off, sharing with us their top DFS plays on tonight's 5-game slate. Who is your top play at center tonight, Paul?
There are so many mismatches to pick from, and I wonder where AJ is going to go, but I'm going to stick to a couple of obvious ones. Florida at Buffalo. Alex Barkov, $9,000. That's one of the most expensive ones on the slate. But he's worth it. 15 points and 38 shots on goal, averaging 16-plus DK points per game. The Buffalo defense and goaltending is not inspiring. Of course, Colorado gets a similar mismatch at the Island against the New York Islanders. $8,600 his price tag, 8 goals and 11 points in his last 10 games. But that team could go off big time there tonight. I also go back to the Florida game for Sam Bennett. This guy's playing his first game back in Buffalo since he was dealt. You know he's going to be inspired. He's pouring a ton of shots on goal, and he's only going to cost $6,400 as the number 2 center in Florida. But he's going to get a lot of offensive looks and could really pay off there too. And then Patrice Bergeron, 4th on my list, but cheapest one, $6,100 against an LA team that Boston blasted last night in near outside Hollywood there. 43 shots on goal in his last 10 games played is a bit of a spike in his shot efforts of late. He's got 8 points in his last 10, and I think tonight could be points night for the Bruins again.
All right, AJ, priciest dudes here, McKinnon, McDavid, Barkov, Matthews. You like one of them, or there's a big gap there between 4 and 5?
Yeah, I don't. I'm going to go further down. Last time we were on here and I talked about the Leafs, they took a complete dump on and lost to Buffalo, who apparently, according to Paul, has a poor defense, but his Leafs only put 1 goal in on the Sabres. So not sure where that take's coming from, Paul. Maybe you just blacked that game out and pretended it didn't happen. So for me, I'm going to go further down. I don't want to touch the Leafs tonight because I'm just not certain what we're going to get out of them. I'm going to go Elias Lindholm, 6K. The Flames have racked up 20 goals in their last 4 contests. The Oilers are, again, another team that's not exactly defensive stalwarts. In those games, those last 4 games, Lindholm, 8 points. He should be more expensive on the slate with just 5 games on there, in my opinion. He should be further up, closer to the 7K range. But if you're going to price him at 6, I think I'll use him all day.
What about over on the wing, AJ? Do you have a favorite DFS play there tonight?
Well, I got to stick with the Flames because the pricing it doesn't make sense. You can pair up Lindholm with both Johnny Gaudreau, who comes in at $5,700, Matthew Tkachuk. One of the Tkachuks comes in at $5,200 here. Again, these guys combined for 15 points in the last 2 games. No idea why you're getting them under 6K in this one. If you want a non-Flameless option, I actually wouldn't sleep on Jeff Skinner for Buffalo at 5K. It's not the best matchup with Florida, but the Sabres have been upsetting good teams of late, in part thanks to Skinner's offense. So for me, stick with the Flames here. If they're going to price that entire top line, maxes out at 6K for Lindholm. The other 2 are coming in under that. I think it's too good of an opportunity to stack him.
Paul, where are you going here on the wing, dude?
Well, I got to back up my Leafs a little bit, so I'm going to pick Mitch Marner, $7,500 for one of the guys that's carrying this offense. The other guy is Matthews, but you save $1,500 here, so I go that route for a guy who's pouring a lot of shots on goal and 18 points in his last 10 games. I don't know how you don't keep him out. There's some much cheaper, still talented options though at the wing. Jonathan Huberdeau leading the league in scoring. How do you price him at only $6,800 for a matchup against Buffalo? I don't know, but he's got to be in my lineup for sure. And then the Bruins tandem on the wings, Pasternak and Marchand, $6,400 and $6,100 respectively. They must be licking their lips in anticipation of LA's return visit tonight too. So they make a lot of sense for me as well.
Yeah, and I love the pasta pick. So he's averaging around like 4.5 shots a game too. So that's always giving him a chance to get that like 5-shot on goal bonus too on DraftKings. So that's a good call by you. What about your favorite fantasy play back in the blue line, Paul?
Well, Cale Makar, another guy. I don't know how you avoid picking this guy against the Islanders. He get a lot of shots on goal, and he's up to 14 points in his last 10 games played, averaging 13.8 DK points a game. So that's a no-brainer for me. And then Morgan Reilly of the Leafs, look, they poured 80 shots on Columbus in the last 2 games that they played them. And so I expect more of the same. And I think more of them are going to go in tonight. I really do. And Reilly's been a key part of this offense, an unheralded guy in the top 10 scorers among defensemen, but he's there on merit. He's a very, very good offensive player.
All right, AJ, hook it up.
Yeah, Makar was the first name on my list here as well, even though he's the top of the price range. And look, if you use the Flames, you can pay up for both Cale Makar and another guy like, I know I said I wasn't going to use the Leafs, but Morgan Reilly has the third most shots over the last 2 weeks of any defenseman behind Makar and Alex Pietrangelo. So you could get the two guys on this slate who are putting the most shots on net in your lineup for really manageable price if you save elsewhere. So I'm going to use both of them tonight, and it does get you a little bit share of that Leafs game. They generally have been scoring despite that Buffalo game that I'm going to keep reminding Paul about.
Hey, on that first power play unit too for him. So always a way to get some extra exposure there on value on the man advantage. Let's go with your top value play on tonight's slate, AJ.
Well, Emerson, you just led into it. Get some share of power play opportunities. And I'm going to go back to the Flames. Tyler Toffoli priced at just $3,800 tonight. He's got 6 points in those 4 games that I've been highlighting. He doesn't play with the same caliber of guys 5-on-5, but he's on that star-studded top power play unit. They've really been rolling of late, converting at 38.5%. And so to get an extra share of that for a guy that's under 4K just makes too much sense to me.
Paul, value.
Mason Marchment from Florida. I can't believe the Leafs let this guy get away. 14 points in his last 10 games played. He's playing on the top line in Florida right now, and I'm hammering that matchup for sure. Andrew Mangiapane. It doesn't matter where Calgary's playing this guy. He's just continuing to score. 6 goals, 11 points, and 26 shots on goal in his last 10 starts. It should be fireworks galore tonight in Edmonton, and I know Mangiapane plays with a lot of emotion, so that's $4,400 well spent in my opinion. Andrei Burakovsky, the best value I think of anybody that we'll mention today. $4,000 the price tag for a guy who's going to play left wing on that top line against the Islanders. It could be points night for Colorado, and can you imagine the value that he'll return if he is a part of it tonight? I certainly can, and I'm looking forward to it.
All right, dudes, let's wrap it up. Your favorite NHL bet on the DK Sportsbook. Paul, hook it up, dude.
There's going to be a lot of goal scoring tonight, Emerson, and I'm going to go the over on 4 games and the alternate total goals for the Florida-Buffalo game. I don't know how the Sabres hold on to the Florida attack. They might get there almost all by themselves. I'm taking 7.5 as the over-under, and I'm going to say I'm going to collect 185 on that. Toronto-Columbus, look, the Leafs can't keep the puck out of their own net, but they can certainly score. And you might say the same thing about Columbus. So again, go to the alternate line for a 155 payoff if they go over 7.5 goals. Colorado and the Islanders over 6.5. That's a really low line, even on the alternate line. So I'm picking up 120 there. And then LA and Boston, Bruins scored 7 all by themselves. They're going to get there with a little help from the Kings tonight, over 6.5 for plus 120.
Yeah, Maple Leafs and Blue Jackets, AJ, biggest goal total on the slate currently, over under of 7.
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy to see that, but I agree with Paul. I think the over makes a lot of sense. The net mining has been atrocious in Toronto, and the offense is pretty good there. But another spot I really like, again, I've been highlighting the Flames all game. I like them on the puck line here, plus 115 on the DK Sportsbook. And as I mentioned, their power play percentage, almost 40% over the last 4 games. So I'll take Lindholm at plus 200 to get a power play point. You can also grab Gaudreau and Tkachuk at plus 125 and plus 170 in that same category to pick up just 1 power play point. I think it's great value for those 3 player props.